Someone will argue the fact that the oceans are essential to our lives. Now, many people do not understand or want to admit the amount of trash and litter that's in the ocean. The most famous garbage patch of them all is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, which is pretty bad when it has its own name. Nicole DeLisandro from EcoWatch states that the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is located in the North Pacific coast off of California and is the largest garbage patch in the world. This floating mass of plastic is twice the size of Texas, and plastic pieces are outnumbering sea life 6-1. I want to say that again, but a little more slowly. Twice the size of Texas. Many people, including myself, ask or wonder why there's so much plastic in the sea and in the land when recycling is so easy to do nowadays. Well, Residential Waste System states that roughly 91% of all the plastic which has ever been created, which is about 8.3 billion metric tons, has not been recycled. Tens of thousands of animals from hundreds of marine species, including every species of sea turtle and about half of marine mammals, have encountered plastic, glass, and other garbage in the ocean. According to the new study, and often these encounters are fatal. This is according to Emily J. Jertz, an associate editor, Environmental and Wildlife at Take Part, which looks a lot like this. So are you still thinking about the amount of litter in the ocean or land? Are you still wondering about these dying animals from all this litter? Are you starting to ask what yourself can do to help with this problem? Well, good. But just to make sure, here's another fact. According to Rick Belant from the Balances MB, it can take up to 450 years for a bottle to fully decompose. And that's just plastic bottles. Now that I have your attention, and we can all agree that there's a serious issue at hand when it comes to litter, let's talk about the amount and what we need to do. I'm sure you've all heard this word, it's everywhere, but I'm going to say it again. Recycle. Everybody knows what this symbol means. Recycling is something that many people assume, but is very easy, but as I mentioned earlier, roughly 91% of all plastic that's ever been created, again, 8.3 billion metric tons, have not been recycled. But how can this be? It's so easy, and especially in America. I don't know about you, but for me, one of the reasons why I've never recycled before is I just don't really know what can and cannot be recycled. Plastic, paper, glass, aluminum can all be recycled, but only if it's in this form, not if it's in this form, like a straw. Styrofoam, can that be recycled? Who knows? Do you? Just to prove this, here's a tidbit of information. According to planeta.com, the United States only recycles 34% of the waste that we produce. This just proves recycling alone cannot solve this problem. There's many other things we can do to help with this epidemic. Another way we can help is reduce the amount of litter by using or reusing reusable items. This is especially true for the items that cannot be recycled. Remember, a couple seconds ago, when I was mentioning items and the issues with recycling, I mentioned straws. See, the issues with straws is they cannot be recycled. And these little tiny pieces of plastic can wind up like this in your area beach. According to USA Today, it is estimated that more than 500 million single-use straws are used and thrown away in the U.S. alone every day, which is an average rate of 1.6 straws per person per day. That translates into 175 billion straws a year. Just to make sure you caught that, that was 175 billion with a B each year. Now what about the plastic bags from the grocery stores? Do you reuse them? Most likely not. And they can't be recycled well, at least in your standard curbside pickup. The plastic waste solution states that globally we use 1 trillion bags a year. That's approximately 10 million every 5 minutes. Now, in case you didn't catch that, that was a trillion this time with a T. And also, who could forget about the old plastic bottle? According to Sandra Lavilli and Matthew Taylor from The Guardian, 1 million plastic bottles are bought around the world every minute. And this number will jump by 20% by 2021. Now, obviously, plastic bottles can be recycled, but many times they're not. How often have you cleaned your car out at the gas station and thrown away, 2, 3, sometimes even 4 plastic bottles at a time? Well, guess what? Those are going to the landfill, and they're going to be there for hundreds of years. To accomplish this and to start by reusing items, there will need to be a small investment. Families need to purchase reusable straws, reusable grocery bags, and reusable bottles that can be filled up in each time. If everyone was to do this, thousands of tons of plastics would be avoided each day. Recycling and reusing has more benefits other than just keeping litter from gathering in the water and on land. According to Recycle Your Plastics, picnic tables, lawn furniture, playground equipment, gardening equipment, and even t-shirts can be made from recycled plastics. Who doesn't use at least one of these items every day, if not every or each week? So you're probably thinking now, what can I do? How does this concern me? Well, I'm glad you asked. The first thing you and everyone needs to do is to start in the habit of recycling. Start with whatever recycling access you have in your area, whether or not it's curbside pickup or it might be a local center, drop-off center. Next thing you can do is by reusing items. Ziploc bags, and going one step further and purchasing reusable containers. Getting into the mindset of recycling and reusing is what will help with this next step. Everybody's heard the saying, now that you walk the walk, you can talk the talk. And this means otherwise known as spread the word. Start getting your friends and your family on board with recycling and reusing. Let them know the importance and what can happen when you throw away other plastics. These small steps, if everyone starts to do it, will spread like wildfire, but in a good way this time. And the change will be seen in no time, almost immediately. You can even make it into a challenge in your neighborhood or your school. It's easy to see what happens when people don't recycle and reuse items. This is especially true when these don't decompose for up to hundreds of years. Recycling items can be one of the easiest ways to help with this epidemic. In most cases, it doesn't cost any extra time or money. An even better way is to reuse products or purchase other items that can be reused. This is an easy way, even though it will come at a small financial cost, to ensure the environment will be clean for years to come. Any way you look at it, something needs to be done, and anything is better than nothing. Make it fun, make it last, and make the difference. We can do this. Just remember the old saying, reuse, reduce, and recycle.